going to talk about actually writing the grant proposals now. And again, as we talked about earlier, planning with the end in mind, we're going to rephrase that a little bit now and talk about writing a strategic grant proposal. We want your grants to be written from that strategic standpoint where you clearly define the bigger picture for the funding. This can be what might be called your so what factor. This can be, again, talking about how your community or school will benefit or will be different or be impacted by having the grant dollars in your schools. It's not about grants aren't really about having the money, because having money is not an end in and of itself, but it's about what those dollars can do for you. So what is it having those dollars will enable you to do as a school or as a community to be more secure and more prepared and more resilient. All of the pieces of your grant, your narratives, your descriptions, everything should describe that same strategic goal. And this is important to remember because, again, sometimes we have grants that are written with seemingly one purpose in mind, and then when you get to a different part of the grant, there's something else that's brought up. It has no connection to the data that's been presented and weakens the grant proposal overall. It's also important to make sure that the items in your budget are aligned with the items in your narrative, that there aren't things popping up in your budget, even if they're not necessarily big items. But if you are, for example, writing a secured school safety grant and much of the grant is written about the importance of instituting an SRO program in your school, and then in your budget all of a sudden you have cameras popping up as an important expense. Everything in your narrative and description should go for that same strategic goal, and they should all be connected. So likewise, if you are writing a grant that is most concerned about increasing attendance rates and reducing your suspension and expulsion rates, that's not the time when you start talking about your activities to start focusing on something else, like the number of people who are in your building unaccompanied or unescorted. So everything in there should be heading towards that same goal. That's not to say that you have to limit the data that you use. Just make sure that the data you use is pointed towards helping you achieve that end objective in your goal.